One of the best ways to improve is to reflect on your own gameplay. And we're going to do that because my wife and I ran a whole bunch of games of Lorcana recently, and of course, we made a whole bunch of mistakes. That's being human, right? We got to go back and look at the gameplay, and we're also going to give some of our thoughts just in general on Lorcana as we look at these games. So let's jump in. Now, keep in mind the game has not officially released yet, so of course, we're using proxies. These are unofficial cards, they're unofficial setups, so support the game when it comes out later in August. All right, so as mentioned, we're going to try and review a few games that we played, well, a few days ago now.
Yeah.
My wife Jackie was playing the red-blue ramp deck, and I was playing red-green jank, and we're just going to point out not just our general thoughts on Lorcana and the game as a whole, but also where we think we made misplays, what our thoughts and hopes are going forward, blah, 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 and I'm hoping that when I go to edit this, we'll actually be able to sync up the audio with the video. That may or may not happen. We'll
High hopes and dreams.
Well, we can all hope. So, at this point, we're going to be starting the game. I mean, there is a little bit of an intro here because we're still shuffling up. We were talking, but the audio quality wasn't great with the recording, so we're going to try it.
Yeah, there's going to be lots of experimentation as we hone in on this process.
Exactly. The bigger issue is I want to make sure that it was clear enough for people to actually see. Now, we chose these decks, like I said, the red-green was because we got Genie, we got Iago, we got a few different things, like the new Beast. But the blue-red ramp has been something that we've liked for a while.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I'm not usually one to play a ramp deck, as just about everyone will attest. I usually play all aggro all the time, but I'm actually really enjoying the blue-red ramp. In a way, it's kind of aggressive because you're just trying to get as much stuff on the board, except instead of dudes, you're getting land.
Well, I think it's more focused is the way I would put it.
Yeah.
Like the
There's
decision
a clear
tree.
mission.
Yeah, the decision tree is kind of linear of like, I need to get to a high level of resources, or ink in this case.
Here you'll see the die roll that I never win, ever.
That's not true. This is like the first die roll I've won in years.
False.
But we did end up, one thing I'll point out that I see in other gameplay videos and in general is I think people need to more aggressively mulligan, and it will be interesting because one of the problems that came up in the games we played with the red-green deck is there are a lot of things that you can't ink. So I ended up here dropping Cheshire Cat into Sergeant Tibbs, and because of the ink problem where you can't always play things face down, it made it a little challenging in some of the games to actually get, like, say, Genie or something on the board, higher cost.
I played Flounder because that's one of the only low-cost dudes in this deck.
It's kind of necessary because you have to compete for the board somehow. You can't just completely give it up and solely ramp, at least not right now, I don't think.
And I guess we should say Sergeant Tibbs is a 2/2.
Good point.
Which helps remind us that he is vulnerable to cannons, not that we have cannons.
Well, cannon showed up in a later game. Those, spoiler for future game reviews. So we're debating here a little bit about the interaction of whether I should attack with Tibbs or not. I forget what I actually did here. I think I ended up holding it back, which I think in retrospect is silly, but I was commenting on because you don't know what the second ink is in your... Oh, no, I do end up... Do I quest here?
Yes.
I know it sounds a little silly because we only played the other day, but I was debating for a while because my concern was if you're steel, do you just cannon it if I don't get in? Which obviously would be the case. You could just remove it and then you keep Flounder, as opposed to having to trade with Flounder. Like, I'm interacting with your board, forcing you to do something, plus advancing mine.
Yeah, so I stashed Bell because I had no stash cards, and then I cannoned. Or no, I didn't want to jump to head.
Yeah, sorry, I put cannon in your head.
Yeah, you did. So I could keep building my resources as much as possible. And I had gotten in my head that I should be clearing his board as much as possible.
Which I think is correct.
I think it's the correct play too, but occasionally it felt bad. I think it's not always the right play, but here I think it was.
Yeah, I think as the ramp deck, you have to, because your game plan obviously is I will top deck better than you. Like, I'll draw Maleficent off the top, remove your best thing, and have a giant body. I will play Aladdin. I will play whatever, but you got to get there first.
Yeah.
Even with the ramp, it's still 9 resources, 7 resources, whatever it happens to be.
Cheshire Cat was annoying.
Yeah, for your deck, because you need... the thing is, I don't think Cheshire Cat is actually that good.
I don't think it's that good either, but it was annoying.
I do think people overrate it. Like, I think people are in love with that card.
So I played Mickey to keep building my mana.
Mickey, however, is really good. Shocker that the Disney game has good Mickeys.
So shocking.
Who could have predicted that one?
I know.
I mean, I know. I'm personally blown away.
I did feel bad stashing Robin, mostly because I love Robin. So I feel bad every time I have to do that.
I think, like, Robin's okay. It's gonna be, like, Cheshire Cat, I think, is not that good. It's just there because we need the body right now. There just aren't enough green cards kind of thing. Plus, you can row it. Robin feels a little weird because in the ramp deck, it's actually kind of difficult to get the draw to go off.
Yeah.
This seemed aggressive by you. I don't know if this was necessary.
I don't know if it was necessary either, but Cheshire Cat annoys me, and Let It Go makes things that are annoying go away.
Fair. I mean,
I don't think, but we ended up. Did I take that back? I took that back because you told me it was a bad choice. Yeah, I took it back
because you were singing with Mickey.
Oh yeah.
Was it because this is where the wording on Cheshire Cat I think threw you off because you thought as soon as it died, not had to die in combat.
Yeah.
So once we went through it, that's why that whole scenario ended up changing.
There is a lot of finicky wording.
The wording is, I don't like the wording in Lorcana overall.
I think there is going to be a lot of timing issues because of the wording.
I don't know about the timing, but I just don't like the way that. So they clearly were desperately trying to avoid the word target.
Yeah.
And they used choose.
Goes against the brand.
But it just like. It just feels clunky and weird. I'm not a fan. I don't like, and that isn't the only instance, but that's the most common one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
So if this is I think this is my awkward turn. One of these games I had to turn where it's just like, yep, attack, go, and I couldn't do anything. I don't remember if it was this turn. No,
I just. This one you played another.
More Cruellas, who is, I like the bounce sub theme in green, but I'm not. Right now, Genie is really good because you choose, but your opponent has...
And the elusive helps.
Well, yeah, but the Cruella and Cheshire Cat, your opponent gets to decide. At least Cruella, I think you can target anything.
Yeah.
But the cat is just going to die to like a 1-drop.
I stashed an Aurora because why not?
Well, Aurora in this deck also serves the same role as Flounder.
Yeah, she's a tiny body for the early, and then you try to get big.
But this is a very early Mickey.
I probably played this Mickey a little aggressively because he didn't last long.
No, I think it's correct. Like, I think you put the threat out there and you go, stop me.
Yeah.
Like, now, admittedly, I had an answer, I think, if I recall correctly, but it boiled down to put the body on the board, and if I don't have the answer, you're probably going to win the game.
Put the body on the board. Put the body.
Really? No. Yeah. Is that really what you're going with?
Yes.
All right. Well, I mean, that's a thing you can do. So I did have something to row here. Yeah. And Genie, I think Genie's going to be great.
Genie seems super useful.
So shout out to my old head Magic players, Man of War. I know Scott was absolutely, like, he was posting jellyfish memes everywhere or GIFs everywhere. And it's like, all right, we get it. We get it. He's going to listen to this later. He's going to get pissed.
Letting it more Mickey, Let It Go to get rid of Genie because Genie is super obnoxious.
Yeah, the evasive on Genie was very relevant. But at this point, I do have a pretty... You
had a pretty strong advantage because I just couldn't deal with the Cruellas as fast as I needed to because I have no... tiny attacks.
Well, I was going to say I have a lead, but my lead isn't that impressive. Like, yes, 10-2, that seems like a lot, but as we've seen and from playing and watching gameplay, like, games can swing, where it's just, yes, you're way down, but then the other player takes control and you're just never back in the game. The problem is you burn those multiple Let It Goes. Yeah.
I really like Big Mickey. He's just, like, I like playing him. He's kind of annoying. Again, like, to play against, I guess.
Yeah, I will say that that's one of the few cards, because I'm not a Disney person, she is.
Yes.
But I saw Brave Little Tailor and go, oh, I get that reference.
Yeah.
It's like the Captain America meme.
That meme is so old, so are you.
Well, hence why I recognize what Brave Little Tailor is. I wonder how many, like, we'll say younger Disney fans have any clue.
Probably not.
That's not a thing. Like, they don't bring that up a lot, do they?
I mean, my students who are 7th graders barely know,
Oh, Then you get dragon fired here, and it's just like,
yeah.
blow out. This is like the game here.
Yeah, that was the end of the game.
It's not literally the end of the game, but the tempo loss is huge.
It was the end of the game. Yeah. 7th graders didn't even know that Robin Hood existed, which made me sad.
That's
But
unfortunate.
We do have sing-alongs to Descendants whenever we have indoor recess, so it's okay.
That's also sad, just in a different way. So this was, I think you scooped here. That's why the Mickey was going away, and I'm looking at the top part. We were debating what was going on.
We argued about how we pronounce Jumba's name. I still say it's Jumba because that's what she sounds like in Stitch.
Sure, I'll take your word on it. So we go into the next game. Do you have any other thoughts on either Lorcana or the matchup or the decks?
No, so that matchup was... I stalled. I think you had a pretty aggressive board, and after I got that big Mickey, nothing else happened. Well, that was the only thing I drew, and I got rid of those let it goes too soon.
I don't know that I would put it that way. I think the way I look at it is the ramp deck, and maybe we're kind of saying the same thing just different ways, but the ramp deck needs, obviously, time to build up, and then once it does, it plays its one big thing every turn. So singular removal like Genie, like that Dragon Fire, it's just crippling because it's such an enormous tempo boost, because it's not just, you spent an entire turn doing a thing, I might spend a turn removing it, but in the case of Genie, I'm putting another body on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely a major part of it. But also, like, I drew the big Mickey. I didn't see any of my Maleficents. I didn't see any more Robins. I didn't see any other big bodies. I just saw tiny bodies.
And to be honest, I should have also put a hand count marker on here as we're watching the replay, but it's possible the Robins would have gone off if you had drawn other ones, because I do remember having things stuck in hand.
No, I think they would have, but I just didn't get there. So I stashed Scar. I played Develop Your Brain. Start. Yeah. I really like Develop Your Brain.
Well, going first, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, Develop Your Brain it's fine.
I like being able to sort through what I want and what I don't want. I mean, sometimes it feels bad when you have to row something that you're going to want later, or like put something at the bottom of your deck.
It's interesting to me that a lot of people are pointing this to be like a brainstorm, which it's more like a bad impulse. It's half an impulse for old Magic players, but even then it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't play Magic. I played WoW, so
I mean, there were effects like that in WoW.
I know, but I don't know the Magic terms. I know the WoW terms.
I only use the Magic ones because those ones more people are going to recognize.
I know. So Stash the Bell.
One thing I will say here is I was debating not playing the Tibbs because I'm pretty sure, I know I was pointing it out earlier, but I'm pretty sure this game I was not confident on being able to continue playing things. Like, I thought I was going to run out of stuff to play. And here's where I think we're debating the non-existent Fire the Cannons play.
Yeah.
Because if we assume that this would be game 2 if we're playing best 2 of 3, so I know that she's blue-red as opposed to blue-steel.
Yeah.
Isn't that the name of the thing from Zoolander?
Oh, yeah.
I hate that movie.
I know you hate that movie, but yes, it's Blue Steel.
It's one of those I hate it, but I can't. And now I think we're debating the name on Jumba.
Yeah, this is where the name debate came. The name debate happened 3 or 4 times, because I love Stitch with all my heart and all my soul.
Sure. Okay.
Go get my big Stitch plushie.
I'll have it. I have my Stitch plushie. It's a different one.
Here's a Stitches.
Yes.
Slightly different.
To be precise.
Stitches want to play.
So this is where the reason I had held back here is I wanted to have the opportunity for Tibbs to run into Aurora. There is, I guess, a debate that on her side, if the whole point is to stall the game out, maybe you hold Aurora back, since I demonstrated that I want to use Tibbs as removal. However, maybe it goes even further back to say I should have just attacked in knowing that she's blue-red and it couldn't die, at least with the current card pool, and just get the lore and then attack her next turn. Like, I think that was a sequence of errors by both of us. That the ideal play probably is just me get in, and then she would have to decide, can I ramp fast enough, or should I just get the lore?
Robin of the Hood.
Yeah, so that was a real awkward turn for you.
Yeah.
Just like, row
Just
pass.
like row go.
And with no ramp either.
Yeah, this game, as it's coming back to me, was a lot of awkward turns.
But yeah, the cat is fine here.
I think the cat is great here. He's also super
I don't think it's that good against your deck because you have so much targeted removal.
I guess. I think when I don't see the targeted removal is where it feels extra bad.
Well, you're running 12 targeted removals if you count Maleficent.
That's true.
Because you're running 4 Dragonfires, you're running 4 Let It Go, and you have Maleficent on top of it. Now, granted, you have to, and that might be something that you're just uncomfortable with, is just you're going to take a bunch of damage early on.
Yeah.
Damage. They're going to gather a bunch of lore early on. I know people out there are probably going to scream in the comments that we're not using the appropriate terminology, but
I don't even know the appropriate terminology yet. I'll get there. I will get there like the 3rd day of Gen Con.
I think I counted like when I made a tier list for all the games that I've played, the card games, it was like 50 different card games. It's like, all right, I'm just using very generic terms past a certain point.
I mean, I've only played probably 5 or 6 different card games, but I still... I hate Goofy. No, this isn't the Goofy I hate.
What?
Well, no, this Goofy was annoying. You're right.
Well, I mean, this is the evasive Goofy. I don't know which one you were thinking of.
No, I was thinking of the...
the yellow one? Yeah, the Musketeer one. That's in a different matchup. Yeah. Spoiler for later. But this Goofy actually went up for me. One of the thoughts I had for the red-green deck was just, I'm going to play all the evasive cards that I can. So there's Goofy, there's Mickey, there's Genie, I think there might be one. Tigger is in the deck. And then I don't think there's anything else. And the idea is, okay, well, my entire deck is going to be evasive. I get to choose combat basically all the time.
Yeah, so a Dragon-fired Goofy because he was... Really, all the Goofies seem pretty good.
I think that's fair. Especially because I would have been clocking 4 lore a turn at this point. Like, you had to remove something. 4 is a pretty significant clock. Like, at only 2, if you think about it, you need to gain 20 lore. That's going to take 10 turns, and that didn't come out until turn 3.
Yeah.
You should ramp into something long before then. Should, being the operative word. But
this game was a lot of...
Was this a game where you develop your brain into develop your brain?
Yeah. That was the only thing that I drew.
But yeah,
this is the boring turns.
I mean, this felt awkward, but again, I think you kind of needed to.
No, I definitely needed to, but I also I wanted to do literally anything else as well.
And I think that people may question the row develop your brain, but you needed the resource in order to do both of those.
I didn't have anything to row.
It might have been better to play the develop your brain to try and draw into something and keep the one step ahead. Possibly.
I don't know. It didn't feel like the right play at the time.
I think you have 8 resources here, so this may be where you're trying to build up so that next turn you can Maleficent. Yeah. Especially if that's what happens this turn, because I think there was a big debate for you about whether you can, like, you didn't want to lose the thing you had to row.
Yeah.
And this is where I really, like, if there's a blue card draw or a red card draw that gets revealed in the remaining cards of the set, it'll help this deck immensely because, yes, you could top deck very well. You could also top deck really poorly by hitting 1 jump ahead when you already have 10 resources in play. Yeah. Like, that's a waste.
I think this is also the point where I only had, like, 1 card in hand.
Yeah, I think you had 2 because you're debating what to row so you can play the Maleficent to kill the Aladdin.
Yeah.
Because imagine if you had friends on the other side in this deck.
Yeah, so I remember I rode Mickey, which felt awful, so I could play Maleficent, but I felt like she was necessary to get rid of Aladdin.
Now, to be honest, at this point, I don't think... Yes, you're top decking, but it's going to come down to who top decks better. I had, I think, like 2 cards in hand, maybe, or something around there. And if that's true, then... And I think one of them was Genie, if I recall correctly. It's like, yeah, I definitely don't want to bounce Maleficent. It could be possible because it's a tempo gain. And you'd obviously target the Genie, and I'd make you replay Maleficent just buying me time.
Yeah.
But I wasn't close enough to winning to justify it yet. Hence why I just hard cast Beast here. Oh, I suppose any other cast.
Yeah.
I do like this Beast, though. This Beast
does seem really good.
It's, well, I like it because it has rush. The secondary effect seems weird to me. Like, I don't know if it's actually going to matter. Because to be honest, and I was talking with Dan earlier today about one of the healing cards, nothing ever really seems damaged. They just die.
Yeah.
Which somebody a few weeks ago was asking about, do you think there could be a healing deck? And I think there needs to be a payoff. You know, like when you heal, deal a damage. When you heal, untap something. When you heal, draw a card, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then you need a self-damage card because your opponent might not cooperate or just kill your guys. So, like, you never get to heal them. But here's where you're doing ramp deck things.
Yeah. This is where it finally started to feel like a deck, but memory serves it was too little too late.
Well, you needed, I think this was the game where you needed, if you found one more removal card.
Yeah.
Of any kind. It could have been another Maleficent, it could have been Let It Go, it could have been a Dragonfire, and you would have been fine. That's why I was saying earlier, if Friends on the Other Side was a blue card, this would be insane. Yeah, here's where, like, enormous tempo setback. Enormous tempo setback.
Genie is just, he's super powerful. I mean, I guess he's a phenomenal cosmic being, but it certainly feels like it.
Itty bitty living space.
I mean, a deck box is pretty small.
Or a card sleeve, for that matter. But yeah, Genie seems real good. I can understand why you can't row it. It's one of those things that I don't know that a lot of people are going to recognize right away, or maybe everybody does. It's, you know, it's also funny looking at it, and I understand it has evasion. There's the second Maleficent.
Yeah.
It's interesting thinking about what the devs weight evasion at. So, for example, in Magic, Man of War has the same ability. It's a 2/2 for 3. Genie costs twice as much for +1/+2 because it's a 3/4 instead of a 2/2, and it has evasion. So, like, this card stat economy of, like, evasion is worth this much ink. This level of stats is worth that much ink is interesting to think about. And I'm curious if we'll see future bounce cards like Genie, just smaller bodies.
Yeah.
I think this is where I'm making a misplay coming up next turn, but go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about how a part of the conversation that you can't hear from what we were having is how he never does tally marks. And then all of a sudden for this, he decided to do tally marks, and what it's really annoying watching you do.
Yeah,
tally
normally
marks.
I just
Please
write the numbers. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that
again.
I don't know why I started doing it. Like, I just kind of did it unconsciously. I'm like, this is stupid as I'm doing it.
Yeah. So I got Aladdin out. Once again, I repeat the too little, too late.
Well, Aladdin isn't, though. If Aladdin eats somebody, you steal lore, so it's healing.
Yeah.
Like, it's elongating the game. Here's where you had to make the unfortunate play of trading Maleficent for a Cheshire cat.
Freaking cats.
How funny is that? So, and then Flounder.
Yes, behold the terror.
So here's the misplay that I think I made. Was I'm at 16. She's at 6. But as I mentioned earlier, it's possible for decks like the ramp deck to just stabilize. Now I have Dragonfire here. And I elected to just go for it. The problem is that clearly she's going to crash into my team and wipe my board out. So I need to rebuild the board. However, I know that her deck has a ton of targeted removal. We've already seen Maleficent. We've seen Let It Go. We've seen Dragonfire. So me having a clear board means, okay, I draw Guy, I play Guy. She draws removal, kills Guy, continues winning. Whereas if I didn't attack, just accepted the lore gains on her side, I could maintain a board that she can't deal with in a single turn, and then I just alpha strike her to death. For anybody not familiar with that, that just means I send in my whole team and get the remaining lore that I need. Granted, I would still be at 16, so I'd need 4. I'm still debating as to which was more appropriate.
This is also, that was a misplay by me. I had no reason to put that other lore down, and I just needed to draw cards. I was just taking a gamble on what card I was putting away to try to get something more useful.
Well, I mean, the board was kind of frustrating, and that's a thing that you just have to deal with card games, is like tilting yourself into making bad plays.
Yeah.
And I do that all the time.
I absolutely did.
I do that all the time. But here's Tigger, who I guess is fine. Tigger's one of those cards just like Goofy, where I feel like it's going to fall off as soon as we get better cards.
You cut out my singing of the Tigger song. I love that song.
Do you want to sing it now?
It was in the moment. I lost my vibe.
You actually sang it twice, I think.
Because it's a great song.
We put Tigger and she just like stops and it has to sing it. Well, she doesn't stop, but
I can't wait to be myself in a tournament. People are going to get really annoyed at me.
Yeah, at this point, we kind of determined. I think she had only like one card in hand, and she was like, it's not removal, so it doesn't matter. Plus, the Tigger clearly could get in before Mickey could get it, so.
And it was just,
scoop it up.
Yeah. That too lore.
It definitely feels like overall, we played a ton of games, and not just this matchup. So you'll see the other games when we get the other videos edited and do our commentary for it. There were a number of non-games where it was like, yeah, we played a game, but did we really play a game?
Or did we just blow somebody out of the water?
Yeah, it was, and I think right now, the reason for that is just the card pool. There's just not the things that, and to be honest, a lot of the cards, if they're not literally vanilla, as in they have no text, they're basically vanilla cards, where it's just like, okay, you have this one-liner thing that doesn't really do all that, anything that's all that exciting.
Yeah.
And I think that we still have, if I recall correctly, 58, somebody said it was 42% has been revealed, so 58 remaining.
Ugh.
There's a lot of cards to go.
There's a lot that could happen. But yeah, I feel like we just got all the trash cards out now, and hopefully we get some more.
Many of them.
Some more interesting
ones. That's how card games go. I mean, the majority of the card pool is not going to get played in any meaningful capacity. When we talk competitive play, obviously, if you're playing at home and for funsies, you're going to play whatever characters you like and just have some fun. But I am hoping that there's going to be more interesting cards, more meaningful interaction, more thought-provoking deck builds and strategies. Because right now, it's very much draw guy, play guy, make relevant trades. You know, if there's a trade there, you take it kind of thing, trade down so that you build card advantage. It feels very much like sealed deck or draft, and not even necessarily a high-powered one.
Now that you say that, yeah, it does feel very drafty, but I like draft, whereas you not so much.
Well, I like draft compared to sealed deck, but the thing for me,
sealed deck is my.
No, you like 2-pack. There's a difference. The thing is that what I don't like about it is that it very rarely do things feel coherent. It's just, here's a hodgepodge of cards.
Play.
And make the best of it. It doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. It just kind of, it always feels as though it is a struggle. Like I'm forcing the deck to do a thing. I'm forcing the strategy to happen, as opposed to being a more streamlined machine. And it's not as enjoyable for me personally.
Yeah, I get that. I think I rarely have decks that are coherent past turn 3. Because I like my aggro and it's like, I was like,
I'm pretty sure Bogmara is a very streamlined, well-oiled machine.
It is a very streamlined, well-organized machine, but I only have to be coherent for 3, maybe 4 turns, and then I'm just like, here's 85 dudes, go.
I don't feel like it's a lack of coherency.
Okay.
I get, well, in Lorcana, I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like a lack of coherency that's missing or something like that. I think the issue for me is just the clunkiness of we don't have all the cards.
Yeah.
So like the princess deck, which we will eventually get the video edited, is like, it looked way better with Goofy. But for example, Moana seems terrible. But it may end up being bonkers if there's a new princess or some other support.
Yeah.
But right now, Moana seems awful.
She just seems like she needs more help. But we'll get into those when we get to those games.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about. We have a lot of thoughts on the games, but that's going to wrap it up for this time. So hopefully everybody, if you enjoyed this, hit the like and subscribe button. Check out the other stuff on the Forbidden Mountain. My wife and I will be back hopefully in the near future, and catch us at Gen Con.
Yeah, super exciting.
Exactly. All right. See everybody there.